Have you ever walked away from an argument and wondered why you spent so much time explaining something completely obvious to someone who had no intention of understanding? It feels like trying to dry yourself while standing under the rain. The more you try to stay calm, the more they push you to your limit. The conversation is no longer a conversation. It becomes a battle you never wanted to join. Stoic philosophy reminds us that time and peace of mind are two things most worth protecting. When you let meaningless arguments pull you in, you are giving away pieces of that peace to someone else. That is why this video was created, to help you recognize the types of people you should never waste time arguing with. Those who do not want to understand but only want to win. Those who replace reason with emotion. Those who twist your words, change the subject, or focus on attacking you instead of the issue. And most importantly, the video will show you how Stoic thinking helps you escape the cycle of pointless arguments and keep your clarity. Alex's story is the clearest example. Alex always believed that every misunderstanding could be resolved with logic. If someone did not understand, he explained. If someone misunderstood, he clarified. If someone used unreasonable words, he responded with reasoning. But he soon realized some people do not care about the truth. At work, Ben enjoyed mocking and twisting Alex's words just to feel superior. At home, Mike could argue endlessly just to prove he was right. On social media, Alex often met people who intentionally misunderstood and mocked him only to provoke a reaction. One day, after being caught in a meaningless argument, Alex went to the park for some fresh air. He met an old man feeding ducks. The man said Alex looked like someone who had just fought a battle no one could win. Then he pointed at the ducks. Bread brought them close. Stones made them scatter. But no matter how noisy they were, they never truly listened. The man said some people are the same. They do not argue to understand, but to create noise. The more you react, the more you feed that noise. The next day, Alex tried something different. When Ben mocked him, he remained silent. When Mike tried to start an argument, he replied with a gentle sentence. When someone online tried to provoke him, he closed the app and went for a walk. For the first time, he felt his mind truly free. And that is the lesson for all of us. Not everyone is worth arguing with. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away in peace. Let us begin with the first point. They refuse to listen. This is the kind of person who only needs a few minutes of conversation for you to clearly feel that they are not truly present. Their eyes are not on what you are saying, but on the moment they can interrupt. You speak with good intention, and they respond with haste. You share your thoughts, and they respond with a rebuttal before you even finish your sentence. They do not listen to understand, they listen to counterattack. What makes this type of person exhausting is that they do not care about the meaning you are trying to convey. They care about the feeling of being right. In their mind, the conversation is not an exchange, but a competition. If they do not claim the higher position, they consider it a failure. And when you talk to someone whose only goal is to win, you will always lose. Not because you are wrong, but because you are the only one trying to connect while they are only trying to fight. When facing someone who does not listen, you will notice something very clearly. The more you explain, the more you feel like you are losing control. You want them to understand, but the more you want it, the more tension pulls you in. At some point, you realize you are speaking to the silence of a wall. A wall that does not care what you say, does not change, does not open, and certainly never responds with sincerity. Stoic philosophy reminds us of something important. You cannot control whether someone wants to listen or not. The only thing you can control is how you respond. A Stoic does not seek victory in words. They seek peace in their mind, and sometimes that peace comes from stopping, from recognizing that not everyone deserves your effort to explain. Remember this. A conversation only has value when both sides want to understand each other. If one side only wants to be right, it is no longer a conversation, but a stage for their ego. You do not have to stand on that stage. When you choose to walk away, you are not losing. You are choosing to keep your clarity and your dignity. And that is the true victory of a wise person. Let us continue with the second point. They twist your words. This is the kind of person who only needs you to say one sentence for them to immediately turn it into something else. You say something simple, yet they interpret it in a completely opposite way. You share your thoughts calmly, and they twist the meaning to make you appear negative. You speak about a problem, and they turn it into a problem with you. And when you try to clarify, they twist it again, making you feel like you are chasing a shadow that does not exist. The danger here is that you will unconsciously fall into a defensive position. You will try to correct every sentence, every idea, every detail just so they understand you correctly. But they do not want to understand. They want to control the narrative. They want to push you out of balance. They want to drag you away from the core issue so they can lead the argument. The more you try to prove yourself, the more material they have to twist you in whatever direction they want. This is no longer an exchange. It is a game where you are always at a disadvantage. What you need to see is the motive behind it. People who distort others' words often do it not because they are naive or incapable of understanding. They do it because facing the truth makes them uncomfortable. They do not want to confront the real issue, so they lead you somewhere else. It is their way of avoiding defeat. When they cannot counter with reason, they turn your words into something easier to attack. And the more you engage, the more they win. Stoic philosophy teaches us to recognize when a conversation has drifted away from the path of honesty. A Stoic does not waste strength correcting every distortion. They know the more they try, the deeper they fall into the spiral. Instead, they stop. They remain calm. They hold on to their truth without letting someone else reshape it. And that is how you break free from distortion. Not by countering every sentence, but by refusing to participate in the game. When you no longer respond, when you no longer rush to clarify every twist, their efforts lose power. They only have control if you give it. And you were not born to be a prisoner in someone else's version of your story. The third point is that they argue with emotion instead of reason. This is the kind of person who, as soon as the conversation begins, makes it obvious that they do not care about the content. They care about provoking a reaction. You speak with calm, and they respond with anger. You present a clear point, and they turn it into a story about how you made them feel bad. You try to focus on the issue, and they turn it into their personal emotional drama. And within minutes, you are no longer talking about what you intended, but trying to put out the fire of their emotions. What makes this type of person dangerous is that their emotions are not natural reactions. They are tools. When they cannot counter your reasoning, they use emotion to push you out of your calm state. If they make you confused, they win. If they make you angry, they win. And if they make you feel guilty, they also win. Every reaction you give becomes evidence they can use to turn the argument against you. You will notice that conversations with them always slip off track. You are analyzing the issue and they raise their voice. You are explaining and they sigh and say you do not understand them. You want to find a solution and they claim you are being too cold. The more you try to clarify, the more they pour emotions into it. And once you are pulled into managing their emotions, the original focus no longer exists. Stoic philosophy teaches that the person who makes you angry is the one controlling you. Epictetus did not speak about winning or losing in arguments. He spoke about the mastery of the mind. When you react according to someone else's emotions, you are no longer leading. You are being dragged. A Stoic understands that inner calm is the shield that protects them from all provocation. Therefore, the way to deal with this type of person is not to argue harder. It is to remain steady. When they raise their voice, you keep yours even. When they create drama, you keep clarity. When they try to pull you into their emotions, you stay with the facts. And when you do not react the way they expect, their entire emotional strategy loses its power. The fourth point is that they never admit they are wrong. This is the kind of person who, no matter how clear the evidence is, no matter how obvious the truth appears, will find every possible way to protect their sense of being right. You present information and they say you misunderstood. You show data and they claim it is inaccurate. You point out an error and they immediately switch topics. Arguing with someone who cannot admit fault is like standing in front of a locked door. You have the key in your hand, but they insist the door is already open. What makes them behave this way is not a lack of understanding. It is that their ego is fragile. To them, being wrong is not simply being wrong. It is losing value, losing status, losing power. So they will do anything to avoid it. They will blame the situation, blame others, blame the way you speak, and even blame the truth itself because it arrived at the wrong time. And when you are pulled into trying to prove something that is already obvious, you are giving them exactly what they want the most, which is your attention. You will notice that the more you try to explain, the more they resist. Not because your reasoning is weak, but because their ego is stronger than their desire to understand the truth. People who never admit they are wrong always believe that admitting it will make them smaller. Yet that belief is exactly what stops them from growing. They learn nothing new because they believe they already know everything. And when you argue with someone like that, you will only keep circling through the same loop forever. Stoic philosophy has a deeply meaningful teaching that no one can learn anything when they believe they already know everything. Epictetus reminded us that wisdom begins with accepting the possibility of being wrong. A Stoic does not fear admitting mistakes because they do not tie their self-worth to their ego. They see being wrong as a chance to grow, while those who never admit fault remain stuck in the shadow of themselves. The best way to deal with this type of person is not to keep trying to persuade them. It is to step out of the conversation at the right moment. You are not responsible for fixing someone else's false beliefs when they refuse to look at the truth. Share your perspective, provide the necessary information, and then stop. Their growth does not belong to you, but your peace absolutely does. The fifth point is that they constantly shift the goal in an argument. This is the kind of person who, no matter how thoroughly you answer, will always find a new direction to pull you into. You present evidence and they switch to emotion. You explain logic and they bring up something from the past. You answer the first question and they immediately ask a second, then a third, then a fourth. The conversation never goes anywhere because they do not want it to go anywhere. They only want you to keep chasing them. Arguing with this type of person is like trying to catch a shadow. You think you are close, but it slips away again. You think the discussion is coming to an end, but they move to a new issue. The goal is not truth. The goal is to exhaust you. When you are too tired to continue, they will say you lost or that you did not have enough arguments. But the truth is you did not lose. You were pulled into a game you could never win. What they are doing is a tactic. When they sense you are making sense, they do not counter your point. They simply change the subject to avoid admitting you are right. That way they never lose. And when you keep answering, they change the topic again. This is an endless loop designed to confuse you. The more you participate, the more you lose your clarity, and the more they feel they are controlling you. A Stoic understands this kind of chaos very clearly. Seneca once said that a wise person does not allow themselves to be pulled around by arguments that have no center. Stoic philosophy teaches you to recognize when a conversation has drifted too far from the truth. When you find yourself chasing endless questions, that is the moment you must stop. Not to give up, but to stop wasting your time and energy on a discussion that has no conclusion. The best way to deal with this type of person is to keep your focus and refuse to leave it. If they change the topic, you bring the conversation back to the original point. If they keep raising new questions, you simply say that you will continue once the first issue is resolved. And if they still insist on creating chaos, you have every right to walk away. There is no reason for you to keep chasing a debate that the other person has no intention of ending. The sixth point is that they do not attack your argument, but attack you as a person. This is the kind of person who, when they run out of reasoning, will switch tactics. Instead of responding to what you say, they respond to who you are. You share a reasonable point, and they say you lack understanding. You share an experience, and they mock you for being shallow. You explain politely, and they criticize your tone. The moment they shift from the issue to you, the argument is no longer an argument. It becomes an attack. The reason they do this is very clear. When they cannot win on the level of logic, they drag you down to the level of emotion. If they make you feel insulted, you will react. When you react, you lose your calm. And when you lose your calm, they say you are the one who is out of control. This is a tactic designed to trap you in a loop where everything you say or do can be twisted so they can dismiss you. They do not want to clarify the issue. They want to hit your self-respect so you lose your clarity. You will notice this very quickly if you pay attention. When you focus on analysis, they ignore it. When you stay calm, they try to provoke you. When you present evidence, they dig into something about your personality or your past. And if you get angry, they use that as their excuse to declare themselves right. The truth is, they do not want to resolve anything. Their only goal is to destabilize you. Stoic philosophy carries a very clear teaching from Marcus Aurelius that the best response to anger is silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of someone who knows they do not need to react to prove anything. When you remain calm in the face of personal attacks, you show them that they do not have the power to control your emotions. They can say whatever they want, but you are the one who chooses how you respond. The right way to deal with this type of person is not to enter the fight they are trying to provoke. If they attack you personally, redirect the conversation back to the issue. If they continue attacking, stop the conversation. You cannot make progress in dialogue with someone who only wants to destroy respect. And you do not need to defend your worth to someone who is intentionally trying to diminish it. Silence and walking away at the right moment can be the strongest statement you can make. Let us move to the final point. They argue only to consume your time. This is the kind of person who, no matter what you say or how simple the issue is, will stretch the conversation as long as possible. Not because they care, not because they want to understand, but because they enjoy pulling you into an endless spiral. They ask questions not to seek answers, but to keep you engaged. They argue not to solve anything, but to make you keep responding. To them, the longer the argument lasts, the more valuable they feel. You will recognize this type of person when you give a very clear answer, yet they still refuse to stop. You provide information and they ask another question. You explain everything fully and they bring up a tiny detail just to force you to keep talking. You are close to ending the conversation and they suddenly pull out something unrelated just to open a new cycle of debate. The conversation does not move forward. It simply spins like an old wheel, and the more you push it, the more exhausted you become. What they are doing is a form of attention seeking. They cannot hold others through respect, so they hold them by dragging things out. They do not know how to connect with sincerity, so they keep you close with endless argument. Every minute you give them is another minute they feel important. And if you do not see this, you will lose hours only to realize the problem was never the discussion. The problem was that they never intended to end it. Stoic philosophy teaches that time is the most important possession a person has. Theophrastus said that everything lost can be recovered except time. When you allow someone to pull you into a debate with no purpose, you are giving away the most precious thing you own. A Stoic does not let noise consume the moments they could use for something meaningful. The way to deal with this type of person is simple but requires awareness. When you notice the conversation is not progressing, state clearly that you will continue only when there is a specific purpose. When they keep shifting direction, stop. You do not have to be so polite that you sacrifice your time for an empty conversation. Walking away is not defeat. Walking away is protecting your minutes from someone who wants to drain them. And when you know the value of your time, you will never let anyone steal it with meaningless arguments again. In the end, what you will realize is that not every argument is worth your participation. You could spend your entire life trying to explain to people who do not want to understand correct words for those who twist them, remain calm before those who try to provoke you, or seek clarity in conversations that always shift direction. But all of that will only exhaust you. The truth is, there are people who do not seek truth. They seek conflict. There are people who do not want solutions. They want your time. And there are people who do not want to listen. They only want their voice to be louder than yours. Stoic philosophy reminds us that the only things that truly belong to us are our mind and our time. If you let someone pull you into meaningless arguments, you lose not only your calm, but also the minutes you will never get back. You do not need to prove anything to those determined to misunderstand you. You do not need to defend yourself in conversations built on personal attacks. You also do not need to answer endless questions created solely to keep you trapped in chaos. You are strong when you choose the conversations worth entering, and when you walk away from those that are meaningless. So next time someone tries to pull you into a never-ending argument, remember this lesson. You are not walking away because you lost. You are walking away because you know the value of your peace of mind. And that peace is something they can never take from you. If this video gave you clarity, leave a comment with a simple yet powerful sentence, "I choose peace." It is not only a way to support the video, but also a reminder to yourself that you deserve more peace than any argument can offer. Press like to help this message reach more people who are stuck in pointless debates. And do not forget to subscribe to continue learning deep Stoic lessons that make you stronger, wiser, and freer each day.